Hello, Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com here. It is about noon Eastern Time on Thursday, August 23rd, 2018, and I am in Oahu, tracking Hurricane Lane, which has weakened a little bit, but that's just the wind. The main issue here is going to be rain, and that's what I'm going to try to convince you of today. Looking at the satellite picture here, this is the animation, and you can see it's not as well organized as it once was. That being said, it still has a very rounded overall central dense overcast. The CDO, that has not become stretched out much. It's a little elongated, but not by too much, and the eye is clearly visible still inside of the middle of that central dense overcast where I have drawn in blue there. So that's important. The core is still very much intact, even though these upper level winds that are streaming out of the south and west are shearing at the system. It's still quite formidable. And the key thing here in terms of its intensity and track, because in this case they are going to be directly related to each other, the stronger Lane stays, the more north it will get because of the upper level trough that's in the area, acting like a magnet, if you will. And that is the easiest way to visualize this. And I'm just going to draw in here a hypothetical to help you understand. This is not technically what it looks like, but let's just pretend that there's a big magnet sitting right up here. You know, one of those U-shaped magnets that you could buy as a kid at the store, and they've been in numerous cartoons. So this is a big magnet, and Lane is a large steel ball, okay? And it's attracted to that magnet. It's trying to head towards that magnet. That yellow is not where the upper trough is necessarily. This is just my way of explaining it. Okay, so the larger Lane is, in this case, in the atmosphere, the more room it takes up represents a larger piece of steel or metal that's attracted to the magnet. And right now, Lane is attracted to that magnet. It's moving towards the trough of low pressure that is in the area, and I probably should have just brought up a map of that, but it gets even more complicated. Bottom line is, the stronger it is, the more attracted it is to that upper level magnet, if you will. It's going to try to find the weakness in the atmosphere. That's what it's doing. And once the shear starts to really erode the system, then the lower level flow, which is this way, the trade winds, the deep level flow of the trades would catch Lane and turn it off to the west with time. So the longer it stays intact, especially around the core, and as intense as it is, still a Category 4 at 130 miles per hour, the closer it's going to get to making a direct hit or bringing hurricane force winds to portions of the Hawaiian Islands. And I want to talk about the hazards here. This is very, very important. Hazards affecting land. Obviously, a lot of people concerned about the wind associated with Lane, and I understand that. But don't worry so much about the wind as I want you to worry about the rainfall. First, though, the wind, yes, tropical storm and maybe hurricane conditions spreading over a good deal of the islands, especially at higher elevations. That is a concern. Trees down, other debris blown around, and power outages, totally. But the rainfall here is what I am most concerned with. And if you look right here, it says 30 inches of rain possible, 10 to 20, and then isolated local amounts of 30 inches. That is very, very dangerous, and we're already seeing that on the Big Island with numerous road closures along 19, Hilo being impacted, and this is just getting started. The other big problem is Lane is not moving very fast. If we go, I just want to show you real quick, back up, look at the stats. The forward movement is just no good. It's moving northwest at only, look at that right there, only 7 miles per hour. Yuck. So the very slow movement is going to contribute to the very, very heavy rain, and that is a huge problem. All right? So wind, rainfall, and then the surf. All right? Surf is going to be a problem too, especially on the south and west facing shorelines. And what do you think about Oahu as an example? That's where I am. Lots of south facing beaches here. This could be a real problem with beach erosion over several high tide cycles out here, even though that doesn't have as big of an impact, the tides, as like the mainland U.S. And then storm surge, maybe 2 to 4 feet of normal tide level anomalies, in other words, 2 to 4 feet above normal tide levels. Again, where? On the south and west facing shores near the center of Lane. So that onshore flow pushing the water, pushing the swells towards the Hawaiian Island chain, that's the biggest problem for surf and surge issues. Looking at the different radars, this one showing the Central Islands, heavy rains, the bands moving in, going farther to the south and east, Molokai and Maui down towards the Big Island. Again, very heavy rainfall. And this is just going to continue and continue and continue. And then the Big Island, the way the radars are, the beam can't see through that volcano. But boy, the east side here of the Big Island of Hawaii, near Hilo and volcano areas around the national park, etc. I mean, it is just, this is not at all what you're used to seeing with a tropical cyclone in the Hawaiian Islands. As rare as they are, they usually move right on through. And this one's not doing that. So you got today, except on the Big Island, I think you just need to stay put. The rest of the island chain, you've got today to get some things done, and then you need to just hunker down. Looking at the forecast track, again, this is highly dependent, in my opinion, on how strong Lane remains as it moves north. And the stronger it is, the more north it could get. And maybe it turns a little later, like this, maybe. Maybe it comes up a little bit more closer, towards the Big Island and Maui and vicinity. It could weaken much quicker and turn south or west, farther to the south. But focusing on those little black dots right here is not wise, because that's just the center. Remember what I showed you just a moment ago, that in the satellite picture, Lane, this is Lane. And I talked about this on my update last night. So if you say, it's not going to hit Hawaii, well, that is an incorrect statement. It's already hitting Hawaii. And people, it's frustrating, because I want to be able to help people understand what to expect. And so when they see a track map on the news, on an app, on anything on the web, and they look at the dots here that represent the center position, and that's what these are. These are center positions for the eye. And they think, there's the hurricane, and look at that, it turns safely south of Maui, and it'll be far west to the Big Island, no problems for Oahu or Kauai. Well, that's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. So remember this over here. Got to get my pointer back. I didn't bring my mouse with me. Maybe I should go to Best Buy and get my mouse. That's Lane. That giant red and orange, that's Lane. And yes, it's coming. And yes, it is going to dump probably historic amounts of rain across the islands, maybe as far west as Lihue and vicinity, over there on Kauai, right where Aniki crossed much quicker. Back in 1992, it was in and out in a very short amount of time, relatively speaking. So this too, from Dr. Ryan Maui, gives me this example that I can show you, that he talks about Hurricane Lane continues along the right side of the ensemble prediction system. This is the Euro, and that's regarded as the world's best global computer model. And Lane has been tracking on the right-hand side of the envelope. Why? Because it is stronger. And you see that right there? That is where the stronger storm members exist. What is the ensemble? It's the run of more than just one model. You have the deterministic model, and then in this case, I think it's 50 members or so, 51 members that have different variables. Hey, maybe the storm's a little stronger, maybe it's a little weaker, maybe the wind shear. It's all kinds of variables that the supercomputers are able to tackle, and then you get this idea of an ensemble forecast, and that helps to visualize the potential spread better. And to note that Lane is tracking along the east side of those ensemble members, which some of them, that one right there brings it right over Oahu. Some of them turn it towards Maui and the Big Island. So this is not a done deal in terms of getting this right here, the core of Lane, to pass closer to these areas especially. That is not out of the question. It's not likely at this point, but it's not out of the question that that happens, and here is why. A stronger Lane means more north before the turn to the west. What about the rest of the Atlantic? I'm going to sum it up real easy. Looking at Ben Knoll, right now, not much happening. That's what we thought would be the case. Some of the different modeling, the Japanese, the JMA, precipitation anomaly, I'll just point out what Ben was talking about here. East Pacific still very busy, weeks 3 and 4. Gulf, maybe weeks 3 and 4. These are anomalies, precipitation anomalies. Green means wetter. Brown is drier, and these are above the norms. That's what an anomaly is, the departure from normal. Some main development region risk out here, but it seems suppressed to the south, and the islands generally drier as well. So that's good news for the islands that were ravaged by Irma and Maria and Jose last year, but maybe some threats in the Gulf of Mexico. Bottom line, the East Pacific staying busy, and the Atlantic gradually becoming more favorable, and we can see that on this tweet as well. Changes on the horizon for the Atlantic. The pattern of subsidence, which is sinking air over the basin, is forecast to end after the first week of September, which that means, and we're talking, farther out in time here. Actually, that's further out in time in that sense. Got it right there. Further out in time than just what our models are looking at. So as we get into early September, you see that blue there by mid to late September, how that moves into the Atlantic basin. Well, I think it's going to be quite a busy September for the Atlantic. So right now, let's deal with Lane, and that is what I'm doing. I am in Oahu. I will be tweeting. I will be hopefully on YouTube Live later today. You can follow me at HurricaneTrack. And I do want to mention, I am here in large part because of the support of people that are either a member of our website, our HurricaneTrack Insider, or from Patreon. And this is an important thing, supporting people that do this kind of independent work. So if you would like to become a sustaining member, hit me up on Patreon. We have a good group of people, and I don't want to just ignore that because this costs a lot of money. Yes, I do work with the Weather Channel, and they help with expenses, but expenses are one thing. Paying your bills and being able to pay the mortgage is something entirely different, and I have to be able to do that as well. So thanks to all of you who have helped to get me here. I'm going to do the best I can. I've got 3 live camera systems that I plan to set out to monitor the flooding, assuming that it happens, and then I will be posting all kinds of updates regularly, mainly on my HurricaneTrack Twitter feed right there. So there you go. All right, that is it from me for now. I'll have another update this evening. I am Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com in Oahu. I'll have more for you later today.